DevProxy is a command line tool that helps you simulate API errors and behaviors. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to get started. Okay, so first of all, we're in VS Code. Let's install the extension from the marketplace. Just search for Dev Proxy Toolkit and the first option. So let's install. The toolkit's installed, and firstly, it's checked to see where the Dev Proxy is installed and provided us with an option to install that. So let's install it. So whilst the toolkit is installing, this is downloading the package from Homebrew because I'm on a Mac and doing the install in the background. If it's on Windows, it'd be using Winget, but we do provide standalone installers for you to install it without using the toolkit. But we need to reload VS Code just to start the extension after Dev Proxy has been installed. So let's do that now. And we see down in the bottom right, we're searching for Dev Proxy, trying to find out what version have we got installed. So great, we've got the latest version installed because we've just installed that as well. And we're ready to start using Dev Proxy. This is the public API we're going to use. It's the JSON placeholder API. I'm going to send a request just to show you what the output is like. So it's fairly, it's lorem ipsum. It's just a test API, but it's a public API that we don't control. We can't switch on errors on this API because it's not ours. But we can see that we've got different types of endpoints to get like a single post or comments for a post as well. But as I'm clicking around, the one thing is it returns a response like pretty instantly. We're never getting any errors here. It's really, really basic. But we know that the real world's not like that. We're not always going to get a response. Sometimes these APIs go down and we need to code against that. We need to kind of handle those scenarios, but these scenarios are really difficult to replicate. And this is where Dev Proxy comes in. So Dev Proxy by default is set up to intercept the requests that are sent from this machine to this JSON placeholder API, and it will decide whether it's going to throw an error or not. So we have some random errors that we can return, but there's a chance. So in some cases, we might just pass these requests through, which is fine. In other cases, no, we're actually going to return an error. So we first need to start Dev Proxy. So let's open the command palette and go to Dev Proxy start. And it's going to open the terminal for us. So this is running Dev Proxy with the default configuration. Now, the first time you run Dev Proxy, you need to trust the certificate as well. Because we're using HTTPS, we need the certificate to intercept and inspect that HTTPS traffic so that we can actually inject behaviors into that. So let's press yes and then enter our password details to just trust that. So now we can send our request with Dev Proxy running. So we can see here, we're now getting an error back. And in the console, we've seen that we've got an error, 503 service unavailable. And we can see in the response, yep, service unavailable. We see that it's a 503. And Dev Proxy has been able to do that. And we can keep sending requests. So this one was passed through, send another one through. That one was passed through, try it again. Oh, we got a 403 forbidden. Okay, so we're changing behavior of this API by running Dev Proxy. So let's take a look at how that happens. One thing to note, there is a stop command, and we need to stop Dev Proxy properly, because if we just kill the process, we don't actually unregister this as the network proxy, and then things will get a bit weird. So we definitely need to make sure that we stop that so we can use the command. Great. And then let's look at the configuration file that's being used for this. So we've got another command, so we can do open configuration file. And here is the configuration file. And we'll just take a moment to go through this. So A configuration file contains plugins, which are the behaviors that we want to inject into the request. So here we've got a plugin which is retry after plugin. So if we have a throttling scenario, we can provide a header that you can look for in your code, and then you can retry after so many seconds. And we also have this generic random error plugin. And this plugin has a config section, so we can provide extra configuration for this behavior. So if we search for generic random error plugin by name, can come down into here, and we can see that we have a file which contains the random errors and a failure rate as well. So this is why some were passed through and some errors were returned as well. Another important thing to note is URLs to watch. So when we start DevProxy is looking for requests in this array. So this is looking for any request that's sent to the JSON placeholder API, and we can provide an asterisk as well. So if we want posts or users, we want to have the same behaviors, then this is where we would put in the URLs. Now, if you're working with your own application, obviously you're not going to be using public APIs, but you're going to want to start from your own configuration file. And we've created a command for that as well. So if you look for create configuration file, so you can accept a name. So our default is devproxy rc.json. So if you just start devproxy, it will search for a file with that name, or you can give it a custom name. We'll stick to the default for now. So here we have our empty configuration file. Now, let's say, for example, we want to add some latency to these requests. We know that from the request that we sent before, they were resolved very, very quickly. Let's make it a bit more real world. Using the snippets that are provided by the toolkit, we can use the latency plugin snippet, which provides us with the config that we need. And also then we can create a config section as well. So if we search for latency and config, here we have our configuration, which basically says the minimum and maximum delay that we want to include with with each request. So we could reduce that a little bit, but we want to include the URLs to watch as well. So let's do it the same. Let's include the JSON placeholder API in there. One thing that is to note as well is that we also provide a tooltip. So if you want to learn more about this plugin, if you click the button, you can go to our documentation. You can see all the details, examples, descriptions of the properties for this plugin, and we have a page for every plugin that we provide in DevProxy. So let's head back and let's start DevProxy. And now this time it's going to use this configuration file. It's not going to use the default one. And if we head back to our API file and send our request, you notice it's taking a while now, and that took a while because DevProxy was holding on to that. So it delayed the request, and we can see that we still get a response, but we've been able to change the behavior of this API by just having DevProxy running in the background. Okay, again, when you're finished, make sure you use the stop command to stop the process correctly. If you want to learn more about DevProxy, best place to go is our documentation. Go to aka.ms/devproxy. Thanks for listening.